Namaste and welcome to Stardust Stereo. I'm Parker McPhinney. I'm your host. Today is the 6th of June, year 2026. And for this episode, I'm speaking on Saturn in the second decan of Aries. In astrology, we have 30 degrees in each zodiac sign. Saturn's currently in Aries. So from 0 to 10 degrees is the first decan. From 10 to 20 degrees is the second, and 20 to 30 is the third. So we're in the second, the middle part, the very beginning of the middle degrees of Aries. This does have significance. It has significance when you look beyond just the surface of Aries and you investigate the subclauses, as I call them. Aries is a headstrong sign. It's a go-getter sign. It's a hold no prisoners sort of energy. It's like, let's go for it, whatever it may be. Aries in general also is quite pioneering, willing to go off on a path that's never been explored before. They're curious, they're go-getters, and they're courageous. Saturn is a stability planet, sometimes referred to as Father Time. It's also known to go slow. So when a fast-moving zodiac sign enters a planet that likes to take its time, you can see an internal conflict. This is also where we learn patience. Saturn in the sign of Aries is to teach us patience, to teach us also how to handle authority. I want to talk a great deal about that. Saturn represents the elders, and Aries represents youth. So when youth is given a position of authority, or a young person is given a position of authority and the responsibility of authority, it's a test. Everything in the astrological world is a test. Every transit, every aspect, every solar return, everything is a test, because on Earth, we're in the forever student school. We can dig as deep as we want with astrology. This is why I'm never bored with this particular subject matter, because it's so complex and so layered. You can never, even in many lifetimes, learn everything there is to know. It's quite humbling. It goes way beyond the astrological columns that you read in the newspapers. So Saturn in the second decan of Aries, so we're in the middle part. And we investigate this middle part deeper by exploring how we can cultivate the strengths of Saturn traveling through the zodiac placement of Aries. On the surface level, Saturn being in the first sign of Aries gives us, the first zodiac sign, Aries, gives us a certain amount of information. But when we want to go deeper, we have to look also to, where is Mars? Because Aries is ruled by Mars. And Mars is currently in Taurus at 14 degrees. The relationship between the rulers of the zodiac placement adds a layer of information beyond just, oh, Saturn's in Aries. It's like if you're reading a short story and you get the first paragraph tells you the setting, and then you read further, and about 4 pages in, you find very much about the characters, and then you find about how the characters are using their energy, and then the story begins to develop. The same is true of the astrological wheel. So as I said, Saturn is about father time. Aries is about learning how to handle authority. It's like new to authority. Or you can be very well established in having authority, but maybe you go to a higher level of authority. And so therefore, the handling of that, the overseeing of other people or the overseeing of a department, becomes even a greater responsibility, and it's new to you. So you're working out the kinks within yourself of what's the best diplomatic way to handle authority. You discover how to handle authority in a way that's not abusive, that hopefully does not feed your ego. And if it does feed your ego, you've got the first red flag of, oh, I need to look within. The minute we start to feel like, well, you do it because I said so, we know we're already in a state of the ego talking and not somebody who has emotional maturity. And all through life, everybody deals with some level of how they handle authority responsibly, from being a parent to being a partner to buying a car to selling a car to running a show, casting a show, etc. You know, the whole life is a lesson of various points where we have authority. But right now, while Saturn is traveling through that zodiac placement of Aries, everybody on the planet is given an opportunity to look within to see how they handle authority. Some people have a temperament that handles it very well. They're just built that way. But what I want to talk about is the cocky factor. And we hear that racing car in the background, which kind of symbolizes that. The cocky factor is when we feel so strong in our ego that we take our eye off the reins of controlling our reactions and our words, that we start to think that we are our position, and you're so much more than the job you hold or the power you carry. Basically, every human being on planet is spirit in a body. Now, how we look at this cosmic energy of power, breaking it down, is we look to see where Mars is, which rules Aries. It's in Taurus, as I said. And we look to see the sub-clause of Saturn as it travels through these middle degrees of Aries. Mars in Taurus is very loving, likes to keep things harmony, leveled, comfort, peacefulness. It's like the bull just going around chewing the grass until you make it mad. Then look out. So that gives an easy vibration to this Saturn traveling through Aries. It's the one component that we add. Oh, Mars is in Taurus. So I can be easygoing. I have a feeling of relaxation with the power I have or I use. But when we break it down to the subclause, we are in an Aries Leo subclause with this degree. And so we also will look to see where's the sun. Not just where's Mars right now, but where's the sun. And the sun is currently in Gemini. So we see a lot of options of how we can handle our power. There's choices. We can be empowered and use our authority in a multitude of ways. We can carry on loving conversations to find solutions. And since the sun in Western astrology deals with our identity, we can see that we have various roles when we wield our authority. You can learn also about how to handle authority by looking to people that you respect, how they handle authority, how diplomatic they are when conflict comes up, and take your cues from learning from them. If you're brand new with having an enormous amount of responsibility, because that's what having power is, it will always boomerang back to you however you handle it. So the way we can help ourselves is by learning to handle our own power in a positive way. And really great leaders are respected and not feared. If you're wielding a lot of power and people fear you, you're not gaining a deeper wisdom. You're also learning, with Saturn traveling through Aries, the limitations of power. Love is way stronger than power itself. The power of love can get people to do a whole lot more than the iron fist. So like I said, don't confuse your responsibility with being the power. That's the first step. This summer, we're going to see various examples of how people handle power, because there will be a lot of musical chairs, not just in our political system and the entire global view, but in our individual lives. Come the 28th of June through August 12th, Mars will be in Gemini. Then on August 12th through September 29th, Mars will be in Cancer, very emotional. And then September 29th to November 26th, Mars will be in Leo. And that's the period that I really want to zoom in on. Because also during that September through November 26th, Jupiter additionally will be in Leo. Leo is the shining energy of I am. The positive part of Leo is creative, innovative, because one's creativity, very childlike in some ways, and also can exhibit incredible performance capacity. And in this subclause of Saturn at 12 degrees of Aries, actually until it gets to the 20th degree of Aries, this subclause will stay, is Aries Leo. So right now we are in the subclause of Saturn in Aries, but the subclause of Leo. So I wield my power because I am and I can, is the lowest denominator message. We want to go to the higher level. The higher level is I can be creative with how I wield my power. I can have conversations to hear how to handle it better from others when Mars is in Gemini. I can be emotionally tuned in to what is needed and use my intuition of how well my power is being received, not only from myself, but by others that I work with or am in communication with, or have a family, am overseeing a family with, or overseeing a country. And then when Mars gets to Leo at the end of September through the end of November, that's when we realize how well we have learned the lesson of Saturn in Aries, in the subclause of Aries Leo. Now, during this period, we're going to have lessons that come up a couple of times because Saturn will go retrograde on July 26th at approximately 1 p.m. and it will stay retrograde until December 10th, 2026. Saturn in this decan of the middle part of Aries will stay in that position, even though it's moving like to the 13th and 14th and 15th degree later on. But it will stay in that center subclause until February 20th of 2027. So we have a concentrated period right now of truly taking master classes by our own initiative and how we utilize our responsibility to being in a place of power for empowerment for ourselves, and if we have oversight of others. I think it would be a great thing to review your day at the end of it, to ask yourself, how did I use my power today? Did I use my power in a loving way? Was I intellectually savvy with my power? Did I emotionally tune in to others? Did I throw the spotlight on others to let them shine, not feeling threatened by the spotlight not being on myself? Leo is, of course, dealing with the spotlight. So I'm going to go through the houses very rapidly. If Saturn's traveling through your first house, it is all about how you use responsibility and power specifically, and how this will reflect back on you. Second house, it deals with your values. What values do you have that give you instruction on how to utilize authority? Third house, brothers and sisters. How do I interact with those that are like brothers and sisters, or actually are my brothers and sisters? Do I use my higher rank in the family structure to be a leader to help them grow? Or do I push my thumb down to make them feel small? And it doesn't have to be an extreme like that. It can be in the middle. We know when we listen to ourselves, oh, I could have handled that a little bit better. Next time I will. Fourth house is the physical home. Was my authority needed to keep our home safe? Are we remodeling the home? Does my choice outrank some other member? Am I good at listening to other people's ideas within the family structure? Fifth house. Do I listen to my partner, my romantic partner? Do I listen to my children? Do I give them a little bit of power so that they can learn how to delegate it well? Am I giving them useful lessons in how to use power the best way possible? We can only learn by doing. And nobody came on planet knowing exactly how to be a great commander. Sixth house. That's the work and coworkers and service and having respect for everybody, from the janitor to the person that owns the property that you work on, to the CEO. Learning across the board to delegate and give proper amounts of responsibility to others and to see how they grow and handle it. 7th house, that deals with your partnerships. How do you handle power within business and romantic partnerships? 8th house, that is the transcendence house, and that is the house of the unseen higher knowing. It also is the house of your partner's values. How do we delegate when his values or her values are different from my values? Can we mix it up? Can we mesh it up? Can we find the compromise in the middle? It's an intimacy house, so it's also dealing very much with how you handle the power of your sexuality. The highest form of creativity is to make another human being. Most people don't think about that when they're having sex. I would say actually a lot of people don't. But that is a responsibility and a power force that needs to be held in such high esteem. Many people learn that lesson while they're on planet Earth. 9th house, people's beliefs, the university, church. Who wields the power at the church? Do I like my pastor? Do I like my reverend? Is there equality there with who I listen to more, if it's male or female? How can I be more balanced with who I see as an authoritarian figure? Can I only see one particular gender as an authoritarian figure? Good questions to ask. 10th house, my standing in the community, my reputation amongst my professional peers. 11th house, friends, long-term hopes and wishes and dreams. And so, do I push my power to achieve my goals at the cost of ruthlessness, of shoving everybody aside? Or do I trust that I have the strength and the ability to get to where I want to go without shoving? Do I pick friends because they're powerful? And do I learn lessons about power that way? If you want to know who a person is, one of my teachers said, look to see who their friends are. You will find out more about a person's being by looking who they choose to spend time with than any other way. Choose your friends well. 12th house. It's the cave, the hidden house, the place where we go to heal and reinvigorate ourselves. That 12th house, we can examine what ways can I be more powerful? Because some people don't have an issue of too much power. They have an issue of not owning their own power. They don't believe in themselves. Their esteem is not high. They need to be given power so that they can see that, yes, they can grow, handle it, and are worthy of it. Now, specifically from September 12th until September 26th, Saturn will be at the same degree that it is right now. So wherever Saturn's traveling at that 12 degrees right now, and then also most of September, you will get a clear vision of how you have learned to handle power. And if you do happen to be around people who are suffering from super cocky power, utilize it to learn your patience with them by knowing that in due time they will meet the mirror and learn just as you have. I'm Parker McPhinney. This is Stardust Stereo. I'd like to thank you for listening. I'd like to thank my patrons. You know who you are. If you'd like to become a patron, you can do so at patreon.com/ParkerMcP, reasonable rates. And I want to remind you, you are made of stardust. So go shine.